Pop quiz, where am I? Am I in Peru? Am I in Austria? Or am I in Singapore? Believe it or not, this is Singapore. Yes, that's Singapore. The Singapore of the shiny towers, the banks, the large casino with that ship on top. This Singapore. Singapore has fascinated me for 25 years. It's been my home. I'm now a Singapore citizen. And what I find so amazing about Singapore is that you've got all the shiny places, and at the same time, we have a solid core of urban jungle, which most people don't even know. And within that jungle, you can find really nifty historical stuff. And that's what I want to show you right now. This is what much of Singapore used to look like only 100 years ago. The island was mainly agricultural, the port of Singapore for trading, but that was confined to the coast, and the rest was jungle. So much jungle, in fact, that the last tiger, sadly but yet, was shot only in 1930. And these are the last remnants that give you a flavor of what Singapore was less than 80 years ago. Interesting enough, the island is crisscrossed by little rivers like this one. And when you come into these rivers, they are full of wildlife. For example, we've got endemic freshwater crabs and shrimps living right in the middle of our island. While everybody's out there partying at night, they're partying here in the jungle. Sometimes I come in with a flashlight at night and it is the most amazing experience. Right, after a bit of traipsing around, we're finally on location, and behind me you can see some pots lying about. We're gonna go in here, I'm gonna show you something very cool, and we'll talk about history. There we go. Here comes the Great Wall of China. And by that I mean, of course, China pots. What does it all mean? These are actually trading pots. When China exported their material goods, and in this case, most likely food, pickles, ginger, wine, soy sauce, whatever trading goods they had, these pots were then like empty Coke cans that were the leftovers of their global trading empire. Not knowing what to do with them, they actually here in this case built a retainer wall of old trading pots to keep the earth from sliding. As you can see from the shape of the mouth, they changed. This one has got a fairly small opening, and if we move down here, this pot has got a larger round opening. This would simply mean that these jars contain different goods. Like I said, pickled ginger, could have been soy sauce, could have been wine. And if any of you knows what the difference is in these jars, I'd be most welcome to put you on so we can get more information. This wall actually extends for quite a while. I just have to crash through the undergrowth here a little bit, which is a bit tough. The whole place is loaded with these jars, and they're in a beautiful preservation state, like this one, for example, just, coming out of the forest, and it's really Indiana Jones kind of stuff. Now guys, I honestly will not reveal the place here because I want it to stay intact. All I'm saying to you is when you walk through cities, towns, and forests, keep your eyes open. You're gonna find amazing stuff. The next layer of pot appears, and these are interestingly completely different. You can see wide mouth. So please, again, if anybody of you knows the difference between the shape of these pots and what they were used from, do contribute. I'd love to hear from you guys. And what fascinates me is the workmanship of these pots. It's extraordinary. Look at the finish, and even after a century or more of lying here in the jungle, it's still shiny. These very pots tell the story of Singapore. 200 years ago, Singapore was nothing else but a small jungle island with tigers. And then came a guy called Stamford Raffles. He looked at the map and realized pretty much in a flash the strategic importance of Singapore. Raffles was working for the East India Company. And the East India Company that time had their big port in Penang. And he went like, wait a second, no, we're making a big mistake. We have to go down to a place called Singapore. And his bosses went like, I don't think so. He persisted and talked them into it. They said, okay, fine, do it. Go down there and start seeing what we can do about Singapore. He came down here, signed contract with the local potentates, and opened up the entrepot of Singapore. What he realized is that this pinprick of an island was the one place where all the shipping had to come through, east to west, west to east. they actually had to sail by Singapore, and he would offer them a nice place to come rest, relax, repack their shipments, split goods into different, shipping lanes. And that was the beginning of the massive success of Singapore, which is reflected here in this incredible amount of, crate packing material that you find here, because that's what these pots were, nothing else but. The sheer amount of these pots, which we can consider ancient packing or crating material, hidden in this jungle wall, is just an astounding reminder of the importance of Singapore as a shipping harbor even then. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.